All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a genuinely fascinating piece of source material. It takes a really creative, kind of playful approach to a struggle we literally all deal with every single day. It frames our modern lifestyle choices as a high-stakes formal debate. Picture it like this: a stage, a spotlight, and two totally inanimate objects suddenly coming to life to argue their case before a jury. Before we bring out our combatants, though, I want you to ask yourself honestly, which of these everyday temptations is actually the bigger threat to your daily routine? I mean, is it the quick, super comforting bite of a greasy snack? Or is it that glowing little rectangle demanding your constant attention? We all have this debate quietly in our heads, but today we're putting it front and center. So let's formally introduce our two completely unlikely contenders. In the blue corner, we have the smartphone. It champions itself as the ultimate provider of knowledge, but, well, we all know it's notorious for endless scrolling and totally frying your brain. And in the red corner, the samosa. It represents honest, deep-fried trouble. Sure, it brings people together like nothing else, but it definitely takes a physical toll on the body. Here are our rules of engagement for today's analysis. We're going round by round. First, meet the contenders, then defining addiction, followed by the connection paradox, assessing the harm, and we'll wrap it up with the final verdict. Let's get into it. Section 1, meet the contenders, the opening statements. Right out of the gate, the source text has the smartphone going heavily on the offensive. It immediately points out the samosa's obvious physical flaws, and honestly, with a pretty big dose of arrogance. The phone knows society blames it for addiction, right? So it completely deflects. It essentially says, look at you, you are literally just made of oil and calories. It's a really aggressive, punchy opening move. But wow, the samosa counters brilliantly. It fires right back with, at least I'm honest about what I am. The snack totally calls out the deceptive nature of our digital devices. I mean, think about it. A samosa never pretends to be a health food. You know exactly what you're getting yourself into. But the phone masquerades as this purely helpful, necessary tool while intentionally keeping users hooked for hours on end. Absolutely devastating counterpunch. Moving into Section 2, Round 1, Defining Addiction. So the smartphone confidently steps up to defend its value proposition. It lists out its undeniable merits: knowledge, news, education, connection. It boldly claims, I make them smarter. And look, we really can't disagree with the source text on this point. The device is literally a gateway to all human knowledge. It fiercely defends itself as a vital educational tool, rather than just some mindless vice. While the samosa wastes zero time dismantling that defense, it pushes back sharply with a pretty brutal rhetorical question: do you really? It challenges whether the screen actually provides that educational value in day-to-day reality, or if it just traps us in an endless consumption loop of short videos and totally wasted time. The text does a great job highlighting the massive gap between what the phone is capable of and what we actually use it for. And this exchange perfectly captures the stalemate of the whole debate. The phone gets defensive, arguing that endlessly scrolling is simply the user's choice. Hey, it just provides the platform, right? But the samosa hits the nail on the head by pointing out that eating a deep-fried snack is the exact same exercise in personal agency. Neither object forces you to act, you choose to scroll, and you choose to take a bite. All right, Section 3, Round 2, the connection paradox. Let's really break down this connection paradox, because it's fascinating. On one hand, the digital device offers massive global reach. It maintains distant relationships and literally connects you to people across the planet. But on the other hand, the humble food item grounds us in immediate physical presence. It brings actual families together in the exact same room for tea time and, real, genuine laughter. And then, the samosa delivers what might just be the most impactful line in the entire dialogue. When was the last time they sat together without you? Boom. This incredibly powerful cross-examination leaves the phone completely silent in the story. And honestly, it should make all of us pause and reflect on our own family dinners or catching up with friends. Are we ever truly 100% present anymore? Which brings us to Section 4, Round 3, Assessing the Harm. Right here, the tone of the dialogue takes a dramatic shift. We move away from the heavy offensive attacks and enter a phase of mutual reality checking. Both contenders finally concede a really crucial point. They both offer legitimate, necessary utility and joy to the user. The phone admits, yeah, it is absolutely needed for work, study, and just the logistics of modern life. And the samosa, representing our physical indulgences, is acknowledged as necessary for comfort, joy, and the simple pleasure of tasting something delicious. Neither of them are inherently evil. However, no matter how useful or joyful they are, the undeniable reality of this debate is starkly laid out. Excessive consumption of either leads directly to distinct, measurable types of harm. One harms your body through physical health deterioration, and the other harms your mind through severe mental fatigue and distraction. The consequences might look different, but the core mechanism of excess, it's exactly the same. And finally, Section 5, the final verdict, balance. So, in a massive twist, the combatants actually end up agreeing with one another. The phone asks if they are both the problem, and the samosa replies, no, we're not the problem is no control. The core conflict is beautifully resolved by shifting the blame entirely away from the inanimate objects. Think about it. A phone is literally just glass and metal. A samosa is just dough and potato. The real issue is placed squarely on our lack of boundaries. This brings us to the ultimate lesson of our explainer today: balance. It is the singular, true power we hold over our lifestyle choices. It's that deep, fundamental understanding that too much of anything is dangerous, even the things you absolutely love. It's a totally neutral, impartial conclusion. It doesn't vilify technology, and it doesn't shame you for eating food. Instead, it elevates personal responsibility. Let's look at their final, unified pieces of advice side by side. The samosa says, enjoy me, but don't overdo me. Meanwhile, the smartphone says, use me, but don't lose yourself. This perfectly summarizes the mindful stance we should all be taking with our daily habits. It is not about strict prohibition, it's about intentional engagement. You don't have to throw your phone in the ocean, and you don't have to swear off snacks forever. You just have to stay in the driver's seat. We'll wrap up our analysis of this fantastic source material with one final provocative question for you. In the ongoing debate of your daily life, are you controlling your habits, or are your habits controlling you? Take a real moment to think about that the next time you reach for a snack or instinctively unlock your screen. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope it leaves you eager to examine the balance of your own routine.